So, and Desi region, they are a different breed. Yeah.
Desi Degens, yeah, yeah. The problem with Desi Degens is I have a feeling that many Desi Degens look at that they are looking for moonshots. मतलब कि कहीं ना कहीं पैसे बन जाएं. Unlike like if you see the NFT community largely outside India, I mean wherever we have interacted, let's say in Gata Cat Gang or those kind of places, they are not like that. But I remember in Wazirex when that NFT platform used to be there, it used to be like an echo chamber. Everybody would try to pump each other's tokens and try to dump it on somebody else. I That culture, I think this happens because the government is anti I think NFTs and crypto. So all these other players who are looking at hyping stuff up, Ponzi schemes, those kind of things will come up. I want to give you an example. Why? I mean, like, despite, let's say, I was in the Indian Navy, I worked for the government, and still, why do I go for crypto and all that? Is because of two reasons that historically we have seen. One is Indian government at one time had banned gold. Okay, so they had put a lot of restrictions on gold, and if you remember all those movies, the D Gang movie and all those, that was all about gold smuggling through Mumbai port and all that. That happened because we put so many restrictions. Now there are not that many restrictions on gold, and you can see now people don't go to Dubai and pile up gold and come back to India. That doesn't happen. It used to happen
Yeah.
when there were so many restrictions. So the way to promote something, I mean, to keep your citizens safe from something is not to ban it. It is to create regulations so that the people who are actually building products can come in and do something. I mean, create something better. And second thing is what I remember is the IT brain drain. I have got my brother-in-law who's in US. Okay, he's a software engineer, and even my that is my wife's brother, and my sister's husband also was in the US. He had to come back due to some family requirements, but he was also a software engineer. Imagine, like from Andhra, actually, you have 50% of the people who are doing some job, or I mean, some big job, are in US. So that happened because of, again, regulations, policies. If you make things tough in your country, either people will leave or products won't be built. Frankly speaking, in the last 10 odd years, the governments have done well, and the economic situation of India is improved. But coming to just purely cryptocurrency or blockchain, the ostrich approach, that is, you put your head in the sand and say, "Ki, nahi, nothing is there, don't allow anything to happen," that is not the way to do it. And RBI is not the organization to, I mean, to be told to study this, because any what do you say, centralized finance organization, like all the people from RBI, they would be from banking, that sector. They would never look at cryptocurrency in a good light. It is like if you are doing if you're a diamond merchant, you will never want to, you won't tell a diamond merchant to study regulations for gold, because that takes away their business. You can't do that. You have to
Yeah.
have an industry body and do it. And subsequently, you can't also listen to only Indian exchanges, because Indian exchanges have their own agenda. Like right now, the ban which happened, many people are saying it is because of lobbying by the Indian exchanges to stop them. And I remember what Zeppay and Unocoin used to do in 2017. The Indian exchanges, they would buy Bitcoin and Ethereum from the market, sell it to you at higher price in their platform, and when you want to sell it in the platform, they would buy it from you at a lower price, thereby creating an arbitrage opportunity for themselves within the exchange. And that still happens in many Indian exchanges because of the uh, hazy regulations which are there. It is not like if you see exchanges outside, they're more decentralized. I mean, whatever is the market rate, you'll get it at that, whereas some of our exchanges don't do that.
Whatever is happening right now in India, and you said the lobbying from the Indian exchanges, and I agree to that. Because, but then the Bitcoin ETF happened, right? Like a historic moment, like we got to witness and a new asset class being formed in front of our own eyes, right? And now there's more, how do you call it, substance to cryptocurrency, right? Because they are kind of accepting it. So the West is kind of accepting it. So what do you think the impact of this ETF, uh, will our government uh, like soften up for cryptocurrency, because they cannot ignore it now. Like, The ignoring thing, the putting your head in the sand, the ostrich thing, that's kind of out of the window. Of course, they can have their own like legislation and their rules and their own interpretation of it, but ignoring an asset class. And also, you talked about Indian exchanges and like a lot of exchanges not being decentralized. So, so what are your thoughts on this? Because I feel that the main motto behind Bitcoin is the decentralization of money, and then which which results in decentralization of power. So right. So
Yeah.
yeah. So what do you think? Will our government soften up because of this ETF approval?
I think our government will not soften up. The problem is that we are a large country and many people are uneducated about these things. So, like maybe about 1%, 2% of us know what blockchain is, how it happens. But many people, if they get into Bitcoin, like there are so many Bitcoin scams happening in India. This happens because a lot of people are uneducated. They just want to get into that Ponzi scheme. So I think the for such a large country with such misinformation, I think the only way right now for the government is to ban it or to create hurdles, like put 30% tax on crypto, so that people don't get into it, right? And those people who do want to do it, they can still pay the tax and do it. I think that is the idea behind the government's keeping it closed down. And Bitcoin ETF, the problem with this thing is like I think the Indian financial regulators have always been a little wary. I remember during the housing crisis in the US a few years before that, Raghuram Rajan had actually spoken about this, that while creating financial instruments and creating these kind of things, you have to be careful that you don't create too much leverage, like more people get into it and then Bitcoin falls. Imagine that Bitcoin crashes by 50%. All the people who put money in that Bitcoin ETF would go down. And the people who would make money are the guys who are the running the ETFs, because they make money when the market goes up, they make money when the market goes down. So given that, I don't think the Indian government would be looking at any cryptocurrency related this thing. But I think what they should consider is to make it either an asset class like real estate and tax it accordingly. So rather than keeping it what do you say, hazy and not giving clear regulations, they should do that. And the I'm sorry, I missed out the second part of your question. I just went on to this government thing.